Have you ever asked yourself why do some men with no flashy car, no million-dollar bank account, no designer clothes still manage to capture the deepest affection of a woman's heart? Why do women, even in this modern world of material obsession, still fall harder for some men who don't offer money but something else entirely? You might think it's looks or confidence, but the truth is far deeper and far more powerful. In today's video, we're going to break down the 5 things women secretly love more than money, using the timeless wisdom of the Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius. These aren't tricks or tactics, they are transformations. If you absorb them, they won't just change how women feel about you, they will reshape how you carry yourself as a man. So if you're ready to go beyond surface attraction, if you're tired of chasing women who only value status, then make sure you watch this video till the end. May just change your love life forever. If you're new here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join our growing brotherhood of Stoic-minded men. There's an old story of a Roman soldier, Lucius. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't noble, but he had something that made women stop and look again. Even the daughter of a wealthy senator fell for him, not because of status but something else. The truth about what women secretly crave. Soldier once asked Lucius, "What is it about you that draws women in?" Lucius smiled and simply said, "I live by the words of the emperor." He was referring to Marcus Aurelius. You see, Marcus didn't just rule Rome, he ruled himself. And in a world full of noise, temptation, and distraction, that was the most attractive force of all. Uncover those ancient truths. 'Cause women may never say it aloud, but these 5 things they secretly crave more than any luxury. 1. Presence over possessions. Do you remember your first love? Not the dates or the gifts, but the way it felt when they looked at you like you were the only person in the world. That moment when time slowed down. Not because anything expensive happened, but because the moment was real. Now think, what if I told you that presence, not presence, is what women truly crave? Not just the first time, but every time. Let me tell you a story. It's not about a king or a movie star. It's about a quiet man named Lucius. He was a Roman soldier. No riches, no status, just a heart that listened and eyes that saw. Lucius would sit with his lover under the olive trees after a long day, his armor dusty from training. Would talk sometimes about her dreams, sometimes about her fears. And while she spoke, Lucius wouldn't interrupt. He wouldn't fidget. He would be there, fully. No scrolls in his hand, no distractions, just presence. Rare. And here's the truth, my friend. In today's world, that kind of presence is even more rare. Ask yourself, honestly, when was the last time you listened to someone, not to reply, not to fix, but just to listen? You see, women are intuitive. She can feel when you're with her physically, but your mind is somewhere else, wandering, scrolling, thinking about your to-do list, your goals, your stress, and she starts to pull away. Not because she doesn't care, but because she doesn't feel seen. You may think, I'll make it up to her with a gift. But no box, no ring, no dinner can replace what she truly wants, your emotional presence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Confine yourself to the present." Simple words. But most of us are time travelers, regretting the past, anxious about the future, and missing the one thing that matters most, the now. Lucius didn't have money, but he had mastery of this moment. He didn't need to say the perfect thing. He just needed to be. And in doing so, he gave his woman what no coin ever could. Connection. So let me ask you again. Have you ever had a moment where someone made you feel truly understood? Not judged, not rushed, just safe. A moment lives forever, doesn't it? Imagine being the man who creates that feeling for a woman. Not by chasing her. Not by impressing her, but by slowing down, turning off the world, and choosing to be with her, not just next to her. That's what women secretly love. Because in a world where everyone is trying to show off, the man who shows up fully presently is unforgettable. Don't underestimate the power of being emotionally available. Because when a woman feels emotionally seen, she connects. And when she connects, she fulfills. Remember, a presence isn't about doing more. It's about being more. The best part, you don't need money for. You just need to be here. Phil. With me. Let's move to the second one. Emotional grounding over flash. Thing. Women secretly crave something even more powerful than presence. Emotional discipline. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Because it's where most men fail and a Stoic man wins. 2. Emotional discipline over drama. Have you ever had a moment in a relationship where you lost yourself? Maybe she didn't text back right away. Maybe you saw her laughing at another guy's joke a little too long. Or maybe you just felt that silent panic rising in your chest. If she doesn't feel the same anymore, you're not alone. Every man, yes, even the strong ones, has felt that moment of inner chaos. But the difference between the high-value man and the reactive one is this. The disciplined man doesn't let that chaos become his master. Me. Take you back to our Stoic soldier, Lucius. One night he returned to camp. After a long mission, he spotted his lover in conversation with a charming nobleman. Their laughter echoed under torchlight. Another soldier nearby smirked and said, "She's already replacing you, brother." Most men would have stormed in, confronted, made a scene. But Lucius, he stood still, calm, collected. Later his lover approached him and said, "You didn't say anything. You weren't even angry." He looked at her and replied, "I trust what's true doesn't need chasing. And if it must leave, no force will hold it." That's not weakness. That's power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That right there is emotional discipline. It doesn't mean you suppress how you feel. It means you master it. You don't act out every emotion like a boy. You respond with wisdom like a man. Women don't want perfection, but they do want emotional safety. Let's get real. If you explode every time she disagrees with you, if you sulk or withdraw to punish her emotionally, if you beg, panic, or spiral when she pulls away, you become unpredictable, volatile, and that makes her feel unsafe. Not physically unsafe, emotionally unsafe. And when a woman doesn't feel emotionally safe, her heart lets down. But when you hold your frame, when you can stay still in the storm, she starts to trust you at a deeper level. And not just trust you, she starts to admire you. Me ask you, have you ever felt the difference between reacting out of fear and responding out of strength? It's night and day. So next time things get heated, when she tests you, pulls away, or says something that stings, breathe, pause. Ask yourself, what would a king do here? Because the truth is, the woman who Tests your emotions isn't trying to break you. She's trying to find you. Wants to know, is this man strong enough to lead me through my chaos? And when you pass that test, when you choose emotional discipline over drama, she doesn't just stay. She trusts you with her whole heart. So be that man. Not the loudest, not the most reactive, but the most still. And you'll find still waters pull the deepest love. Let's move on to the third thing women secretly crave. Something that has nothing to do with charm and everything to do with destiny. Purpose over popularity. And trust me, you don't want to miss this one. 3. Purpose over popularity. Have you ever looked in the mirror not to fix your hair, not to check your appearance, but to ask yourself, what am I really doing with my life? Not for her, not for 2. The invisible pull of masculine presence. Them but for you. Because here's a truth most men don't realize until it's too late. Women don't fall in love with the man who wants to impress the crowd. They fall for the man who's walking his own path, even if he walks it alone. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Be occupied then with what is truly your own. That is purpose." Me bring you back to Lucius, Stoic soldier. He wasn't the loudest man in camp. He wasn't the one always surrounded by laughter or women or praise, but he was the first to rise. He trained before the sun rose. He studied philosophy by torchlight. He helped others when no one was watching, not for fame but for his mission. A younger soldier asked him, "Why don't you ever join us at the tavern? We're always working. Don't you care what people think?" Lucius looked at him and said, "I do care, just not about everyone. Care about what I become." Now listen closely. That same man, the one with calloused hands and quiet eyes, had women magnetized to him. Not because he sought them, but because they felt something rare in him. He wasn't chasing popularity. He was busy becoming. That, my friend, is what women secretly love more than money, more than charm, more than smooth words. They love a man who is going somewhere, not drifting, not waiting, not seeking approval, but building, moving, evolving. Why? Because a man with purpose makes a woman feel like she's part of a bigger story. Me ask you, have you ever dated someone and felt like you were going in circles? Like there was no direction, no growth? It's draining, right? Now flip that. Imagine you are the man who wakes up with clarity, who knows what he's building, who values his time, who doesn't need to post every move or explain his every decision. You become rare. And in today's world, rare is irresistible. Here's the brutal truth. If you don't have purpose, you'll seek popularity, and that makes you easy to forget. But if you have purpose, even if you're unknown, even if you're silent, people will feel your gravity. And the right woman, she'll want to walk beside you, not because you asked her to, but because your path calls her. Don't aim to be like, aim to be legendary. And watch how your energy shifts. How women begin to see you not as a boy seeking validation, but as a man leading vision. And trust me, no amount of money can replace that kind of traction. Next up, integrity over image. And this one cuts deep, because in a world full of masks, women are craving something real. Stay with me. We're going to want to hear this. For integrity over image. Have you ever pretended to be someone you're not, just to be liked by a woman? Maybe you exaggerated a story, laughed at something you didn't find funny or said, "Yeah, I love that too," when deep down you didn't even care. We've all done it, haven't we? Because there's a part of us that's terrified. She sees the real me, maybe I won't be enough. But let me tell you something that most men never learn. Women are drawn to truth, not your filtered truth, but your raw, unshakable integrity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. When let me tell you a story not about battles or romance this time, but about Lois. Lucius, our Stoic soldier, was once offered a promotion, but it came with a price. He'd have to turn a blind eye to a corrupt official. He could have taken the power, the gold, the influence, and no one would have known. Except he would have known. He turned it down. His fellow soldiers mocked him. Why throw away your chance? No one would have blamed you. Lucius replied, "If I betray my values for status, then I am nothing, no matter what badge they give me." Now here's the twist. That very night his lover held his face in her hands and said, "Do you know why I love you? Because I never have to wonder who you are. You are the same man in every room." That's the power of integrity. 'Cause let me be honest with you, brother. You can fake. 3. The magnetic force of purpose. Being confident. You can fake charm, but you can't fake character. Women feel it. They sense when something's off. When your words say one thing but your actions don't match. Maybe she'll stay for a while, but she won't trust you. And without trust, love rots. So let me ask you again. When no one's watching, when you could lie, cheat, bend the truth, who are you? Because that is the man she falls for. Not the perfect one. Not the polished one, but the principled one. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to impress her with the image of who you think she is. You just need to be real. Man who keeps his word, who apologizes when he's wrong, who walks away when something violates his values, no matter how tempting it is to stay. That man, he's unforgettable because he's safe. And women love a man they can believe in, even when the world tries to change. So stop curating your life for approval. Start living it from a place of truth. Because in a world drowning in illusion, a man of integrity is her anchor. And next we go even deeper into what separates real power from performance. Silence over showing off. This one will shift how you carry yourself forever. Let's finish strong. 5. Silence over showing off. Have you ever felt the pressure to prove yourself? To show her your achievements? To mention your income? To flex your status? Not because you wanted to, but because you felt you had to, just to earn her attention. You're not alone. Most men have been there. We live in a world where noise is celebrated, where the loudest man in the room is often mistaken for the most powerful. Marcus Aurelius had a different idea. He wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." Silence isn't weakness. Silence is restraint. Silence is command. Let me tell you a moment from Lucia's life. One evening, after returning victorious from a dangerous mission, Lucius stood in the command hall with his fellow soldiers. The general asked each man to describe what role they played in the success of the mission. Men stepped forward, each proudly recounting their part. Lucius, he simply bowed his head and said nothing. The general paused and asked, "And you, Lucius, what would you say of your role?" Lucius replied, "My reward is the outcome, not the praise." Silence. Respect filled the room. Even the general smiled because Lucius didn't need applause to validate his worth. His actions spoke louder than his words ever. Now let me bring this back to, have you ever been around someone who constantly talked about what they have, who they know, or what they've done? It's draining, isn't it? 'Cause the moment someone starts trying too hard to impress, you start to wonder, what are they trying to hide? Women feel that too. She's not looking for a man who needs to convince her. She's looking for a man who knows himself so deeply that he doesn't need to perform. 'Cause here's the truth. The man who is powerful never has to show it. He moves differently. He chooses his words with purpose. And when he enters a room for mastery over mood swings, people feel him before he even speaks. That's the kind of man who stays in a woman's mind, not because he bragged, but because he didn't have to. Lucius never boasted. He never paraded his victories, but every soldier admired. And every woman felt the weight of his silence, because silence is mystery, and mystery is magnetic. When you stop trying to impress, you become impressive. When you stop seeking attention, you become the one worth watching. So let the others show off. Let them talk. You just build, grow, just be. Because eventually the world and the right woman will notice. Not because you shouted, but because your energy whispered louder than any words could scream. Now let's bring it all together. So what did we learn? Not your wallet, your titles, or your followers that make you unforgettable. Not because they're obvious, but because they're rare. And the rarer you are, the more she will feel something she doesn't even understand but can't ignore. So why do women secretly love these 5 things more than money? Because money can buy things, but these qualities they build something far more valuable: trust, depth, emotional safety, and lasting admiration. Lucius wasn't a rich man, but his soul was wealthy, and that's why the senator's daughter chose him. Saw in him what few men ever display. And as Marcus Aurelius taught, what truly matters isn't what others think you are, but who you are when no one's watching. So let's review the 5 things women crave more than money through the lens of Stoicism. Through presence over possessions, because emotional connection outlasts any gift. To emotional discipline over drama, because she needs to feel safe, not stressed. Purpose over popularity, because mission builds magnetism. Integrity over image, because trust is more attractive than a facade. Silence over showing off, because power doesn't announce itself, it radiates. These aren't gimmicks, they're principles. And if you live by them, not only will the right woman see you differently, but you'll see yourself differently. Because in the end, true attraction begins when a man becomes deeply aligned with who he really is. And as Marcus said, look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next music.